After a while, Han Li only felt his waist tighten and his body lighten, and he suddenly began to rise upward on his own. Han Li turned his head and saw that it was the senior brother who had been closely following behind him. The man was holding him with one hand while using his other hand and legs to agilely climb upward. At the same time, Han Li noticed that the sun was hanging high in the center of the sky. So it turned out he still hadn't managed to complete this stretch of the journey. Han Li felt a bit disappointed in his heart. He had tried so hard. Why was he still not as good as others? In the blink of an eye, they reached the top of the cliff. There were only 6 children sitting nearby resting, while Wu Yin was speaking with a wealthy, 50-something old man wearing a deep blue gentry robe, his hands clasped behind his back. Hall Master Yu and Guardian Wang were standing beside him, along with several others. They were all waiting for the young senior brothers to bring up the slower children one by one. After a while, all the children had been brought up. At that moment, Hall Master Yu stepped forward and faced the group of children solemnly. This time, there are 7 who passed. 6 of them will enter our sect's 100 Forge Hall and formally become Inner Sect disciples, he said slowly. The remaining one, Wu Yin, was the first to reach the cliff top and performed exceptionally. He will be directly promoted to the 7 Perfections Hall to learn our sect's ultimate techniques. Hall Master Yu turned back to glance at the old man in the gentry robe. The old man stroked his beard and nodded in satisfaction. As for the others, Hall Master Yu looked over the remaining children, gently stroked his chin with his right hand, and pondered briefly before continuing. Zhang Tai and Han Li, although you did not reach the cliff top in time, your performance was outstanding. It seems you can endure the hardships of martial training. The 2 of you will first lay a foundation under several instructors in our sect. After half a year, you will be assessed again. If you pass, you will officially become Inner Sect disciples. If not, you will be sent to the Outer Sect as Outer Sect disciples. Han Li glanced at the other boy who also stepped forward. His name was Zhang Tai. He had been right behind him, clinging to the rope and nearly reaching the cliff top. Guardian Wang. The remaining ones should each receive some silver taels and be sent back home. Hall Master Yu said coldly, looking at the last group of children. As you command. Guardian Wang stepped forward, bowed respectfully, and led the eliminated children down the cliff. Zhang Jun, Wu Mingrui, the 2 of you take these successful candidates to our hall and hand them over separately to Vice Hall Master Gu and Instructor Li. 2 more young men stepped forward to accept the order, splitting Han Li and the others into 2 groups and leading them down the cliff. One of them was the same cold-faced senior brother. As they were about to descend, Han Li couldn't help but glance back at Wu Yin and saw that he was still speaking with the blue-robed old man, showing no intention of leaving. He is different from you. He has been sent to the 7 Perfections Hall as a core disciple. Once he completes his training, he will at least become a guardian. One of the lanky-faced senior brothers seemed to notice Han Li's confusion and took the initiative to explain, though his tone carried a faint, indescribable mix of envy and jealousy. He's just relying on having a Vice Sect leader as a relative. If not for his cousin marrying Vice Sect leader Ma as a second wife, someone like him, already over the age limit for entry, how could he have entered the 7 Perfections Hall? The cold-faced senior brother said this, sending a chill down everyone's spine. Zhang Jun, do you want to die? The Vice Sect leader is not someone we can casually talk about. If other fellow disciples hear this, both of us will be punished with wall-facing confinement. The lanky-faced senior brother was startled by his words and quickly looked around. Seeing no outsiders except these children, he finally breathed a sigh of relief. The cold-faced senior brother snorted softly, as if he too had some concerns, and said nothing further. Only then did Han Li learn that this cold senior brother was named Zhang Jun. Though he only vaguely understood what they were saying, he dimly realized that Wu Yin had not entered the 7 Perfections Hall through true skill, but because of a powerful relative in the sect. Walking along the mountain path, both senior brothers were thinking of some discouraging matters within the sect and lost all desire to speak. They simply led the group forward in silence, while Han Li and the others did not dare to talk either. Perhaps, in their hearts, They had already begun to sense that the Seven Mysteries Sect was different from their homes. As they passed through a dense forest, an old man slowly walked out from within. He appeared to be over 60, tall and thin, with a sallow face and long white hair reaching his shoulders. As he walked, he kept bending over and coughing repeatedly. Judging from how difficult his coughing seemed, he looked as if he might collapse at any moment, causing great concern. However, when Zhang Jun and Wu Mingrue saw him, they showed no concern at all. Instead, they hurried forward and respectfully bowed deeply to the old man. "Dr. Mo, greetings, sir. Is there anything you would like to instruct this disciple to do?" Zhang Jun, unlike his usual cold expression, was filled with respect. To him, this old man was even more worthy of respect than the hallmaster and even the vice sect leader. "Oh, are these new disciples who just arrived on the mountain?" The old man finally stopped coughing and asked in a hoarse voice. "Yes. Among them are 6 formal disciples and 2 registered disciples," Zhang Jun replied carefully. "I'm short on manpower right now. I still need 1 alchemy disciple and 1 herb gathering disciple. These 2 will come with me." Dr. Mo casually pointed, his finger landing precisely on Han Li and the other registered disciple. His tone left no room for doubt. "As you command. These 2 are registered disciples. To be favored by you, Dr. Mo, is their fortune. Come over and pay respects to Elder Mo. If you can learn even a bit of his medical skills, it will be the greatest opportunity of your lives." The 2 senior brothers showed no objection at all. The thin-faced Wu Mingrue even flattered the old man profusely. Seeing that the senior brothers had no objections, Han Li and Zhang Tai naturally had no right to refuse and followed the old man into the woods. Leading the 2 of them, the old man slowly walked along a small path through the forest, weaving left and right. Suddenly, their view brightened, and a lush, vibrant green valley appeared before them. On the left side of the valley was a large expanse of farmland filled with a strong medicinal fragrance. Many herbs Han Li could not recognize were growing there. On the right side stood more than a dozen houses of varying sizes connected together. After looking around, they found that aside from the entrance they had come through, there seemed to be no other exits leading outside. This is Divine Hand Valley. Aside from the disciples within the valley, outsiders rarely come here unless they are ill or injured. From now on, you 2 will live here. Go rest for now. Tonight, come to the main hall to see me. I have something to tell you." The old man stood before several connected houses and pointed to one of the smaller rooms. "You may call me Elder Mo," the old man said after a pause, "or Dr. Mo." After speaking, Dr. Mo ignored the 2 of them, coughing as he slowly walked into another more imposing building. Han Li was already utterly exhausted. Not caring about Zhang Tai beside him, he collapsed onto a wooden bed in the room and fell into a deep, groggy sleep. To him, at this point, he could already be considered half a disciple of the Seven Mysteries Sect. "Wake up! Wake up! Wake up!" A faint voice, as if coming from the horizon, jolted Han Li awake. As he opened his eyes, a huge face was pressed right up close to him. Startled, he quickly recoiled before realizing it was Zhang Tai. "Eat something first. After dinner, we need to go see Elder Mo." Zhang Tai handed him 2 steaming hot steam buns. "Where did you find this food?" Han Li asked, still dazed, before taking them. "There's a big kitchen near the valley. I saw everyone going there to collect food, so I went too. After eating, I realized you hadn't eaten yet, so I brought you 2 more buns." Zhang Tai smiled honestly. "Thanks, Zhang." Han Li felt a warmth in his heart and instinctively addressed him more familiarly. "It's nothing. I'm used to doing work at home. If I don't do something for a while, I feel a bit uneasy. If you need anything in the future, just tell me. I don't have much else, but I've got strength," Zhang Tai said a little shyly, his words slightly stumbling. Han Li had not eaten all day and was already very hungry. In just a few bites, he finished 1 bun, and soon the 2 large steam buns were completely gone. "It's getting late. Let's go see Elder Mo." Han Li burped lightly, looked at the setting sun outside, and calculated the time before deciding it was about time to meet Dr. Mo, Zhang, Tai had no objections and followed Han Li to Dr. Mo's room. Inside Dr. Mo's room, bookshelves lined the walls, filled densely with all kinds of books. Elder Mo, Elder Mo. Dr. Mo sat back against a grand armchair, holding a book and reading with great interest, seemingly completely unaware of their arrival or their greetings. The two boys, after all, were still children. Seeing no response, they became at a loss and could only stand awkwardly to the side and wait. Han Li had been standing to the side for so long that his feet had started to go slightly numb when Dr. Mo finally, unhurriedly placed the book in his hands onto the nearby desk. He glanced coldly at the two of them, then picked up a cup of tea, took a few small sips, and only then spoke slowly. From this day forward, you two are my registered disciples. I will teach you some basic knowledge of herb gathering and alchemy, and perhaps some medical arts for saving and treating people, but I will never teach you martial arts. Dr. Mo's expression remained blank as he set the teacup down again. I do have a set of cultivation and self-cultivation incantations to teach you. Although it won't allow you to defeat enemies, it can strengthen your body. If you truly wish to learn some martial arts, you may go to the instructors for that. I will not object. However, after 6 months, what I will assess is only your progress in this incantation. If you fail, you will still be sent to the Outer Sect as Outer Sect disciples. Do you understand clearly? Dr. Mo's tone suddenly turned solemn, as if he placed great importance on this incantation. We understand. Han Li and the other boy answered in unison. You may leave. Come again early tomorrow morning. Dr. Mo waved them off, signaling them to go, then picked up the book and resumed reading. Before leaving, Han Li couldn't help glancing at the book in Dr. Mo's hands. Unfortunately, he could not read. He only knew the title consisted of 3 large black characters. It was a pity they recognized him, but he did not recognize them. After stepping out of Dr. Mo's house, Han Li finally let out a quiet breath of relief. For some reason, while he had been inside, he hadn't dared to breathe too heavily. His mind kept tightly strained. Now that he was out, he immediately felt relaxed, returning to normal. In the days that followed, Han Li remained in high spirits because he had finally become a disciple of the 7 Mysteries Sect. Although only a registered disciple, it was still far better than those children who were sent home. Even if he failed the test after 6 months, he could still become an Outer Sect disciple like Third Uncle. In Han Li's mind, Third Uncle was already a person of considerable status and standing, so he did not take the 6-month assessment too seriously. Deep down, he even vaguely hoped he would fail, so he could leave the mountain earlier and see his parents and his beloved younger sister again. In the days that followed, in the mornings Dr. Mo taught them some medical and pharmaceutical knowledge. In the afternoons, they went to a study hall with other children to learn literacy and basic martial foundations, such as the 12 main meridians, the 8 extraordinary meridians, and the body acupoints, while also practicing horse stance and striking straw dummies to train basic skills. After a month, Han Li and the other boy were finally separated from the other children and no longer had time to learn anything else, because Dr. Mo began teaching them a nameless incantation. Practicing this formula took up most of their time. Dr. Mo strictly ordered them not to pass it on to anyone else. If it were leaked, they would be severely punished and expelled from the sect. During this time, Han Li learned more detailed information about the 7 Mysteries Sect and Dr. Mo through others. The sect had a rightful sect leader named Wang Lu, a descendant of the 7 Ultimates, as well as 3 vice sect leaders. The sect was divided into outer and inner divisions. The outer sect had 4 halls: Flying Bird Hall, Treasure Gathering Hall, Four Seas Hall, and Outer Blade Hall. The inner sect had 4 halls: Hundred Forge Hall, 7 Perfections Hall, Offering Hall, and Bloodblade Hall. In addition, there was an elder council that stood only beneath the sect leader and was on equal footing with the vice sect leaders. Dr. Mo had originally not been a disciple of the 7 Mysteries Sect. Several years earlier, when sect leader Wang Lu was traveling outside, he fell into an enemy trap and was ambushed by hostile forces, suffering severe injuries, and was on the brink of death. Everyone around him was helpless. By chance, he encountered Dr. Mo, a physician, who miraculously saved him with skillful hands and cured him completely. The sect leader was deeply grateful. Later, upon discovering that Dr. Mo not only possessed superb medical skills, but also considerable martial ability, he invited him into the sect. A small valley in the mountains was carefully selected and built into a residence for him, allowing Dr. Mo to settle peacefully within the Seven Mysteries Sect, where he became an honored elder of the Offering Hall. During his time in the sect, although disciples had never seen his martial prowess and did not know how strong he was, his exceptional medical skills had saved many lives within the sect. Thus, despite his often expressionless face and few words, he was respected by all disciples. Han Li slowly drew back the energy flow within his meridians into his dantian. This was already his 7th consecutive grand circulation cycle of the day. He knew his body had reached its absolute limit. If he attempted another cycle, his meridians would very likely rupture again, and he would once more experience that life-worse-than-death pain. Just thinking about the agony of his meridians splitting strand by strand made even the usually bold Han Li break out in a faint cold sweat behind his back. More than half a year had passed since Han Li first entered the sect, and the formal entrance examination for registered disciples had already concluded more than 2 months earlier. Only a small portion of registered disciples were able to officially join the inner sect. The majority of those tested failed to pass this hurdle, and those who did not make it had no choice but to pack up and head down the mountain to become outer sect disciples. Most of these unsuccessful children were assigned to the treasure gathering hall and the flying bird hall. Those with a bit of talent would likely undergo further training, giving them a chance of being recruited into the better-treated outer blade hall. Of course, the best treatment among outer sect positions belonged to the Four Seas hall. Unfortunately, the Four Seas hall only accepted renowned figures from the martial arts world. Without a skill or two worth showing off, it was not even worth dreaming about, let alone for these inexperienced children. Whenever Han Li thought back to what the other registered disciples had been tested on 2 months earlier, he still felt a faint sense of unease. They had to run a full circuit around the Rainbow Cloud Mountain range, spanning over 10 li, then form teams to fight in a sparsely populated forest, and finally withstand a series of relentless attacks from highly skilled senior brothers while defending against a certain number of moves. All these tests made Han Li feel a trace of schadenfreude, despite himself. Han Li and Zhang Tai did not take part in those terrifying trials. As Dr. Mo had said, they were only tested on their progress in cultivating that set of formulas. Yet this hurdle was not as easy as Han Li had initially imagined. Even now, he still remembered the situation from that time with perfect clarity. According to Dr. Mo, this nameless formula was divided into several layers, and Han Li and the others had only obtained the cultivation method for the first layer. In other words, if the two of them could achieve some success in cultivating the first layer within 6 months, Dr. Mo would consider them to have passed. They would then become his formal disciples and enjoy the same daiyue as other inner sect disciples of the Seven Mysteries Sect. After learning about the difference in treatment between inner and outer sect disciples, Han Li completely abandoned his earlier thought of simply muddling through the 6 months and becoming an outer sect disciple just so he could return home. At that time, compared to the possibility of receiving more silver taels from the Seven Mysteries Sect and having it sent back home, nothing else seemed important. He had been so poor at home that he knew every extra coin of silver could improve his parents' and siblings' lives. After obtaining the formula from Dr. Mo, Han Li stayed inside his room and never went out, cultivating day and night without rest, devoting every moment he could to it. Since Dr. Mo did not provide any guidance in cultivation, Han Li could only explore on his own and refer to how other children practiced the Seven Mysteries Sect's basic internal skill, the righteous yang force, to gradually figure things out himself. After 3 months of hard cultivation, Han Li was shocked to discover that the progress of this formula was frighteningly slow. Even after exhausting all his effort, he could only produce a faint thread of cool energy within his body. This thread was so subtle it was almost imperceptible. Without careful inner vision, he could not even detect it. Perhaps this was what the instructors referred to as internal true qi, Hanli assumed. However, according to what other children cultivating the righteous yang force said, the true qi they formed was a clearly noticeable, warm current of energy. In contrast, what Hanli produced was a cold flow, and the difference in their effects was even greater. After circulating their righteous yang force, true qi, the other children could punch through saplings as thick as a bowl and leap more than a zhang into the air. But after Han Li circulated his strange true qi, there was almost no change compared to before. The only difference was that his energy seemed somewhat more vigorous and his appetite had improved significantly compared to before he entered the mountain. But what use was that? Watching the other children from his cohort display such astonishing abilities made Han Li increasingly dejected. This unexpected discovery nearly made Han Li abandon all his months of effort. He believed his aptitude was simply too poor, and that it would be impossible to pass Dr. Mo's examination in the remaining time. He had even begun preparing to leave the mountain. By chance one day, Han Li learned from Zhang Tai, who was also cultivating with him, that Zhang Tai's body had shown absolutely no change since beginning the formula. No effect whatsoever, not even the slightest trace of true qi like Han Li had. This chance revelation restored some of Han Li's lost confidence. In the days that followed, he resumed his arduous cultivation, once again throwing himself into the same intense practice as before. No, this time even more desperately, even more frantically. Han Li now used every moment to sit in meditation and cultivate. Even when sleeping at night, he even began to maintain his cultivation posture, hoping to gain a bit more progress. Of course, this Fengkong approach only lasted a few days before it failed. The reason was sleep deprivation, which made it impossible for him to maintain efficient cultivation during the day. What puzzled Han Li was that ever since Dr. Mo had taught them the incantation, he had completely ignored the two of them. He never asked about their progress or any problems in their cultivation, as if he had entirely forgotten their existence. Every day, Dr. Mo would spend all his time engrossed in a book with 3 black characters on its cover, reading it as though it truly contained peerless beauties and golden mansions. At first, Han Li and Zhang Tai even thought Dr. Mo no longer intended to be a physician who saved lives, and had instead decided to study hard to become a scholar. Later, after the two learned to read, they discovered those 3 characters were longevity scripture, a book about cultivating one's body and nurturing one's vitality to extend lifespan. Only then did they suddenly understand. Dr. Mo was not trying to become a scholar, but wanted to live as long as the turtles in the river, living for thousands upon thousands of years without dying. After nearly half a year of frantic cultivation, Han Li finally stood before Dr. Mo to undergo his test. Zhang Tai stood awkwardly close beside Han Li. It was no wonder. Han Li had already learned from him that despite nearly half a year of cultivation, Zhang Tai had achieved nothing with the incantation. Han Li knew Zhang Tai had taken this cultivation no less seriously than he had. Although he lacked Han Li's almost reckless desperation, he had still put in no small amount of effort. He could certainly be described as diligent and conscientious. Yet strangely, the incantation had produced absolutely no effect on Zhang Tai. No matter how hard he tried, there was not the slightest result. It seemed this technique simply had no fate with him. Han Li himself was also uneasy, his heart far from calm. He knew Zhang Tai would most likely fail this assessment, and although he himself had achieved a little progress, it was not much better. Even his desperate cultivation had only strengthened the strange energy flow within his body by a small margin. If previously the energy was as thin as a strand of hair, it had now grown to the thickness of cotton thread. But whether this would be enough to pass Dr. Mo's test, he truly had no confidence in it, and his heart couldn't help but hang in uncertainty. Are you both ready? Show me the results of your cultivation, Dr. Mo said coldly, narrowing his eyes as he sat in a grand chair, staring at them. We're ready, the two of them answered stiffly. Dr. Mo slowly stood up from his chair and placed the book, which he never left behind, onto the table. Extend your hands. Let me see your circulation. Dr. Mo grabbed Zhang Tai's right wrist pulse gate with one hand and placed the other on his dantian. After the time it takes to drink a cup of tea, he withdrew his hands, expressionless, and carefully examined Zhang Tai from top to bottom. Zhang Tai's face turned completely red. He hurriedly hid his hands behind his back and lowered his head, not daring to look at Dr. Mo again. He knew Dr. Mo must have already realized he had achieved nothing in the incantation, and that there would likely be no kindness in the treatment he received next. Your turn. To Zhang Tai's surprise, Dr. Mo showed no intention of scolding him. Only a faint trace of disappointment appeared in his eyes before he turned to Han Li. As before, Dr. Mo seized Han Li's right wrist pulse gate. So cold, icy cold. Not at all like a living person's hand, Han Li thought uneasily. Dr. Mo's skin was somewhat dry and covered with calluses, which pressed against Han Li's skin with a faint stinging sensation. This was Han Li's first impression of being grasped by him. Perhaps triggered by the external stimulation, the energy within Han Li's body began circulating on its own before he even attempted to guide it. It flowed along the 8 extraordinary meridians, passing through the body's acupoints from the dantian to the head, then to the limbs, completing a rapid cycle before returning to the dantian. Once this energy began to circulate, the discomfort on his skin immediately vanished. Dr. Mo couldn't help but exclaim aloud, clearly having detected the energy within Han Li's body. Quick, circulate the incantation again, Dr. Mo said, his face trying to remain calm, but the feverish excitement in his eyes betrayed him and left Han Li slightly stunned. Slowly. Let me observe carefully, he added immediately. His usually cold tone had also become urgent as he placed his other hand on Han Li's dantian. Han Li could feel Dr. Mo's hands trembling slightly. It seemed he was extremely agitated, so Han Li complied and once again guided the energy through his body. Good, good. This is it. This is exactly the feeling, exactly the thing I want. No mistake. There's no mistake. Ha ha ha. After giving Han Li a thorough examination, Dr. Mo could no longer contain himself and burst into loud laughter. He gripped Han Li's shoulders tightly with both hands. His half-closed eyes flew wide open as he stared fixedly at Han Li, as though he were gazing upon an unimaginably rare treasure. There was even a hint of madness in his eyes. Han Li's ears rang with Dr. Mo's booming laughter. His shoulders ached under the man's iron grip, and the frenzied expression on Dr. Mo's face filled him with fear. Good. Very good. Only after noticing the fear on Han Li's face did Dr. Mo realize he had lost his composure. He immediately stopped laughing. Keep working as hard as you have been. From today onward, you are my personal disciple. He released Han Li's shoulders and gave him a few encouraging pats. Dr. Mo's face soon returned to its usual calm, as though his earlier outburst had never happened. Yet the eager glances he occasionally cast at Han Li revealed that he was still brimming with excitement. As for you, at last, Dr. Mo turned his attention to Zhang Tai. Zhang Tai had been stunned speechless by everything that had just happened. Only when Dr. Mo addressed him did he snap back to his senses. Remembering that failure in the assessment meant being driven off the mountain, he looked at Dr. Mo with desperate pleading in his eyes. Your aptitude isn't very good. After all this time, you still haven't managed to cultivate anything. Taking you as my disciple would really be forcing the matter. Dr. Mo shook his head repeatedly. With every shake of that head, Zhang Tai's heart sank lower. Both of them could tell from Dr. Mo's words that he had no intention of accepting Zhang Tai as his disciple. But suddenly, Dr. Mo seemed to think of something interesting. A peculiar look appeared in his eyes as he gazed at Zhang Tai. However, after examining your physique just now, I found that another cultivation method is better suited to you. Would you be willing to learn from me? His tone changed so abruptly that it sounded as though he intended to let Zhang Tai pass after all. The moment Zhang Tai heard this, there was no way he would refuse. He agreed on the spot. Good. Very good. You two may leave now. Tomorrow I'll teach you your new cultivation methods." It was obvious that Dr. Mo was in an excellent mood, as another good, very good, slipped naturally from his lips. Han Li and Zhang Tai exchanged a glance. The day's test had taken one unexpected turn after another. Yet somehow they had both passed the assessment in the end. The outcome left them immensely relieved.